In the first phase of wealth building, it feels like you're pushing a snowball uphill. Slow, exhausting, and full of doubt. In this video, you'll see the math behind why everything changes at $100,000, the 3 levers that speed growth, and one simple step you can take today to get there faster. What exactly changes around $100,000, and why does a 10% return suddenly feel so different? To answer that, we need to look at what wealth building feels like before you hit that mark, when every push forward still feels like a grind. In the early stages, wealth building feels slow because most of your progress comes from what you put in, not from your investments compounding. The numbers just aren't big enough yet for growth to feel powerful. You're working hard, cutting back on spending, and staying disciplined, but the visible results are small compared to the effort. It's not a sign that you're failing, it's simply the math at this stage. Consider the returns. A strong 10% year on a $50,000 portfolio is $5,000. On $30,000, it's $3,000. Both are real gains, but they don't feel life-changing after a year of deliberate savings and sacrifice. You can look at the spreadsheet and know its progress, yet emotionally it feels like pushing a giant weight that barely shifts. That gap between effort and visible reward is what makes persistence so challenging. Psychologically, this is where most people struggle. You're trading immediate enjoyment for a future benefit you can't touch yet. Humans are wired to crave short-term rewards, so when every skipped meal out or delayed purchase turns into what feels like a few extra dollars a month, it's easy to doubt whether your choices are worth it. The challenge isn't just financial, it's mental endurance in the face of delayed gratification. I knew someone who hit this wall hard. She worked in retail management, earned a steady income, and saved aggressively for years. She maxed out her retirement contributions, avoided unnecessary upgrades, and kept her living expenses low. Nearly a decade later, she had about $90,000 invested. 10 years of consistent sacrifice, and she still hadn't crossed 6 figures. Not because she lacked discipline or intelligence, but because the growth mostly came from her own deposits. The market was helping, but without a larger base, compounding didn't yet deliver the kind of leaps that felt motivating. That's the reality of this phase. You are the engine. Your income, savings rate, and consistency drive most of the movement. Compound interest is working in the background, but at this level, it's more of a faint push than a powerful force. The snowball is growing, but you're still pushing it entirely by hand. You're building habits, stacking contributions, and laying the foundation for a future tipping point, but until you hit that threshold, progress will feel linear, not exponential. Many people give up here because it seems like the scoreboard never changes. But those steady deposits are doing important work. They're not just adding up, they're creating the base that compounding needs to accelerate. Every dollar saved now expands the surface area for growth later. The frustrating part is that you can't fully feel that acceleration until you pass a certain point. And that's the turning point where everything shifts. There's a number most people don't realize is so important, one that changes how the returns look and feel. Beyond it, the math starts to work in your favor in a way you can see year after year. It's the moment when the snowball's weight starts helping you instead of fighting you, and the climb suddenly feels different. Crossing the $100,000 mark changes the nature of your financial growth. It's not a dramatic event, and you won't wake up the next morning to fireworks, but the math starts to matter in a very different way. A 10% return now equals $10,000 in gains, and for many people, that's the size of an annual raise delivered without working extra hours. It's not a guarantee of huge returns every year, but it is the point where the impact of compounding becomes tangible and the numbers start to feel significant. Once you're past 6 figures, every return builds on a much larger foundation. That $10,000 gain doesn't just sit idle, it's reinvested. So the following year, you're earning returns on both your starting balance and last year's growth. This effect compounds quickly. To put it in perspective, at $250,000, a 10% return equals $25,000 in a single year, more than the average American's yearly take-home pay. The percentage is the same as before, but now the dollar amounts scale in a way that can meaningfully shift your financial position. Before you reach this point, most of your progress comes from your own effort, how much you can save, how tightly you can control your spending, whether you can add income streams. After $100,000, your portfolio itself starts to contribute meaningfully to your advancement. The growth becomes more self-sustaining, and the heavy lifting is no longer driven solely by your day-to-day hustle. This shift isn't about luck or hitting the perfect investment at the perfect time. It's the cumulative result of consistent deposits, smart allocation, and avoiding unnecessary losses or fees. You've built the framework, and now the math of compounding can operate on a base large enough to create measurable results. The same returns that once felt like an abstract reward now cover actual expenses, open new options, and drive momentum without constant manual input. There's also a mental change that happens here. Up until now, your primary question has been, how can I earn more? Through raises, promotions, or side work. Crossing this threshold changes it to, how can I make what I already have work harder? You stop thinking solely in terms of labor and start thinking in terms of systems, strategies, and efficiency. Your focus shifts from being the active worker in your financial plan to being the manager of a machine that runs whether you're pushing it or not. That perspective often leads to a greater sense of control. You see your assets working for you in real numbers, and decisions start to hinge on how they will affect your system's momentum rather than just your short-term budget. It changes how you evaluate spending, risk, and opportunity because you're no longer starting from zero after every expense. You're managing an engine that keeps running in the background. At $100,000 and beyond, your challenge isn't how to get movement started, it's how to keep accelerating. The returns have weight now, and small percentage improvements can turn into substantial dollar gains. The question becomes, with this momentum in place, what specific actions can make it multiply even faster? That's where the real strategy begins. Once you're past $100,000, the fastest growth comes from working smarter with what you already have. That's where the three levers, offense, defense, and efficiency, come in. Each one affects the speed of your progress, and when you pull them together, they create a multiplier effect that you just can't get when your account is smaller. Offense is about increasing the amount of money coming in. At this stage, every extra dollar you earn is more fuel for your snowball, and the earlier you earn it, the longer it compounds. That might mean negotiating a raise, landing better-paying clients, or starting a profitable side project. You could also add a high-value skill, coding, copywriting, digital design, or project management, something that boosts your rate in the marketplace for good. These skill upgrades aren't just short-term income boosts, they can permanently raise your earning power for the rest of your career. Defense works from the other side, protecting what you already earn from slipping away. Start by spotting and cutting the leaks, unused subscriptions, forgotten recurring charges, needless lifestyle upgrades. Dropping one $50 a month subscription frees $600 a year, which invested over time can grow into much more through compounding. It also means avoiding costly habits like replacing a perfectly good car every few years when a reliable used one would work just as well. The bigger the gap between your income and your spending, the faster your wealth accelerates. Efficiency is where your money starts working harder without you putting in more time. Use tax-advantaged accounts, 401k, Roth IRA, and HSA when available, so more of your returns stay invested instead of going to taxes. Move idle cash into high-yield savings instead of letting it sit in low-interest accounts. Shift from high-fee funds into low-cost index funds. Over 30 years, even a 1% difference in annual fees can cost you six figures. Automating your investments ensures there's no delay, hesitation, or missed opportunity. At six figures, these small efficiency gains compound into noticeable, measurable differences in growth. When you combine all three levers, the results can accelerate quickly. I know someone who had around $120,000 invested when he decided to use each one. He picked up freelance work using skills he already had, cut over $500 a month in recurring expenses, and shifted his portfolio into low-cost funds inside tax-advantaged accounts. 5 years later, his net worth had more than doubled. No lifestyle overhaul required, because the extra income, freed up cash, and smarter investing worked together to scale his gains. The real reason these levers feel more powerful after $100,000 is scale. Adding $5,000 a year in investments when you only have $25,000 doesn't noticeably change the math in the short run. Add that same $5,000 when you already have $100,000 working for you, and your returns and contributions merge into much larger annual jumps. This stage isn't about working longer hours or cutting your spending to the bone. It's about fine-tuning the systems you already built so they run with maximum speed and minimum drag. And when those systems are running efficiently, something interesting happens. The growth no longer depends entirely on your day-to-day actions. You start seeing your wealth move forward even when you're not actively pushing it, because the systems themselves began doing the work. Imagine opening your account one morning and seeing your balance higher than the day before, even though you didn't take a single action to make it happen. That's when your financial systems start doing the heavy lifting. Automation is the engine that keeps your plan moving without daily attention, ensuring progress whether or not you feel motivated. In one line, here's the real benefit. Automation removes emotion from the process and enforces consistent action no matter what the market or your mood is doing. The most effective approach is to set up a few simple, proven automations. Make automatic contributions to a 401k or Roth IRA so your investments grow inside tax-advantaged accounts. Schedule regular transfers into a high-yield savings account to build cash reserves while earning more interest than a standard account. Use a robo-advisor that automatically invests and rebalances for you, keeping your portfolio aligned with your goals without you needing to watch every market move. These steps turn financial discipline into something that happens on schedule, not on impulse. Post $100,000, the impact of this consistency gets amplified. The same monthly deposit you've been making now sits on top of a much larger base, so growth accelerates because of compounding. Money flows where you've directed it, every week, every month, without hesitation or skipped contributions. Like a well-timed conveyor belt, it delivers funds into investments while you focus on your work, family, or anything else that matters to you. One of the smartest ways to protect this system is to remove its largest drain, high-interest debt. Credit card debt charging you double-digit interest is a direct growth killer. It pulls money out of your machine before it can go to work. The fix is simple but non-negotiable. Pay that debt down as quickly as possible before expecting automation to build your wealth efficiently. Each dollar no longer lost to interest is a dollar rerouted into compounding for your future. Streamlining accounts is another way to remove friction. Too many scattered accounts can lead to missed transfers, overlooked fees, and wasted time. Consolidating to fewer, low-cost platforms makes it easier for funds to flow smoothly and predictably. When the path is clear, your automated system can run at full speed with minimal oversight. The beauty of automation is that it runs through every market condition. Prices drop, you still buy on schedule, which often means you're picking up more shares at a discount. Prices rise, Your contributions keep building on past gains. Over time, this disciplined cycle compounds on a larger and larger foundation, regardless of the short-term headlines. Plenty of investors settle into a small set of set-it-and-forget-it habits. Those automatic 401k or Roth IRA contributions, regular high-yield savings deposits, or letting a robo-advisor handle the allocation and rebalancing for them. These aren't flashy moves, but over years and decades, they work. Each transfer, each reinvested gain, and each month of steady deposits quietly expands your financial position without demanding extra hours or constant decision-making. None of this works without the groundwork you laid early on. The years of saving deliberately, trimming expenses, and learning the basics weren't just about growing your balance. They were about building the base your system now amplifies. That's why this stage feels different. The heavy lifting has shifted from your active effort to the machine you created. And understanding that shift is the key to seeing just how different the journey becomes from here. The first $100,000 is the hardest because you're building the entire machine from nothing. Your habits, your systems, and your discipline. Once you hit that mark, the machine works for you, and compounding starts doing more of the heavy lifting. Don't treat $100,000 as the end goal. It's the launch point for faster, self-sustaining growth. This week, take one concrete step. Set up an automatic monthly transfer into an investment account or high-yield savings. Small actions now build the momentum you'll rely on later. Before you go, drop a comment with your biggest barrier to reaching $100,000 and hit like and subscribe if you found this useful.